Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from IBG models. It's a kit which is made in 1/72 scale, and it might be interesting for all fans of Luftwaffe in this given size. And the plastic itself is coming from this Polish brand, so that's why it will be interesting to see what is actually copied in this scale. And the aircraft, I guess it doesn't need an extra introduction, so as you can see, it's the Focke-Wulf 190D-11. Here this particular version of the release is dedicated to the Sorau factory series, and the kit number is 72533. So we have here the commercial sample, and it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. This is the final shape of this kit and nothing will change. And of course, first of all, I will note the box art is quite, I would say, dynamic, and I would say that it would be cool to get the poster of this thing as well, but well, IBG does not produce the posters unfortunately, but at least we can cut out the box art. So as for the box size, it's slightly bigger than the typical 1/72 scale release in terms of aircraft from IBG, and here on the side you'll find three other kits which are released by the same brand. We reviewed them as well, and you can find it on the YouTube channel, and we also have the address of the manufacturer and some safety advices, while opposite side is dedicated to three marking options. These are more of profiles. Of course, the full, I would say, marking guides are supplied in the assembly manual. So it's a top opening box. We have all the sprues dedicated or separated into several plastic bags, and those are resealable plastic bags. So actually they are sealed plastic bags, which is quite surprising. So I will have to use a knife then, or scissors, in order to cut through. So just give me a moment. I will try to find one, because I don't remember where is my knife and scissors. In the meantime, I can also remind you that we reviewed the previous version of the Focke-Wulf 190D in the same scale from IBG, and it was quite nice kit, and I think the assembly process should be also quite easy for this thing. And we will see it today again, I hope. So let's zoom in. That's the first sprue, and here we have the wing parts. We have also one piece propeller, and as you can see, everything looks quite nice. So here I don't have any complaints. We have really nice external features, but note that the flaps are pre-molded, so you won't be able to drop them on your aircraft. And if I flip it over, here inside we have some guiding elements, so it will help you with alignment not only of the wing parts but also of the fuselage section. So this is quite important. And of course, this tail section, it also gives us a chance to avoid any unnecessary gaps and seams in this area, because if you would assemble the classic two fuselage halves, then you have to deal with it. And in the meantime, I'm opening the next plastic bag, and this one is resealable plastic bag, so it's quite a nice mix of the plastic bags, I would say. But here we have the Sprue M. So here we have the top wing halves, and as you can see, one of them is molded together with the pitot tube, so you'll have to be careful in order not to break this thin element. We also have some parts for the armament. I guess those are the underwing loadouts, but I'm not sure if they will be useful in this release in today's particular boxing. And if I flip it over, here you can see that wing edges, they will play also the guiding role as well, so it might be handy for the proper position. And while we are opening the plastic bags, I can also remind you that this kit is also interesting, because in 1/72 scale you get this. So you get the engine, and you don't have to buy any aftermarket add-on. You get it as a standard package, and that's why I think that it's worth opening the coding and showing what is actually inside this aircraft, because it's a really nicely detailed thing, and I think IBG did a great work here that they actually included it. And not that many 1/48 scale kits actually feature the engine, and here in 1/72 scale we receive it as a standard thing. Of course, the size is quite small, so you have to be careful while painting all of this stuff, but I think it will add a bit of visual interest, and it might be handy for some diorama ideas in case you would like to build a let's say aircraft under maintenance, or maybe even some damaged aircraft. Then definitely such things are useful. And next we continue with one-piece cowling parts. So in my opinion, this is a must-have in aircraft, doesn't matter which scale. I think with today's technologies and with the molding quality, you can offer such parts as a standard kit without the necessity to buy any resin parts, and here we get them as a standard bonus. So this is a really great thing because it will give a smoother finish to the aircraft and you won't have any seams in this area. And also on those cowling parts we have the rivets and panel lines, so it's better not to sand anything and get it as a single piece part. Next, another sealed plastic bag is dedicated to the canopy. So here we get several canopy types at the same time. Of course we will use only one, but the separate canopy parts actually hint that you can open the canopy, and in 1/72 scale it's, I would say, not that important feature in my opinion, but for some modelers it might be handy, especially if you can get some pilot figurine, maybe some figurine of pilot preparing for the flight, then it might be a really good opportunity to display such thing. Next we continue with the fuselage house. They are situated on this G sprue, and as you can see both are molded together with a tail fin and also with this frontal section of the cowling. But as you remember, the top panel is molded separately. Of course the cockpit will be molded separately, so the only thing where we have to sand those two halves is actually the tail section, and this is really cool. But the air intake is assembled out of two halves, and in terms of the external features, that's as maximum as I can show. Maybe I will leave this sprue so that you can see it with your own eyes, because here we have really nice external features, riveting and the recessed panel lines, so it's just a matter of preserving them, not overdoing the layers of primer and paint. Here inside you can see also some guiding elements, so it will be also handy because, well, Dora is a bit longer than the typical Focke-Wulf, and that's why it's important to have some guiding elements in order to properly align these parts together. Next, I'm cutting through another plastic bag, so just give me a second. Here we have way bigger sprue. That's the Sprue B, and this one is dedicated to cowling parts. Well, I would say it's a mix of parts, because here, as you can see, we have several cowling versions. We also have the one-piece cockpit base, we have the tail wings, ailerons, the landing gear panels, landing gear legs, and landing gear wheels as well. And wheels are molded as a single piece parts, so you have to be careful while painting them. And as far as you can see, there is also the sag effect as well, so it might be handy in case you will depict the aircraft in a parked position. Camera does not want to focus, but I hope you get the idea on how those wheels look like. In my opinion, this is a also important feature because many manufacturers do not replicate any sag, and I think it looks even more weird on aircraft which were heavy, and this sag was noticeable even on the historical photos. Next we have the last gray plastic sprue. This one is even bigger. So here we have external fuel tanks, and maybe I'll zoom out. So as I said, external fuel tanks. Also we have some landing gear parts as well as these supports for the engine, and they are supplied in two versions because you can open the cowling or you can assemble the closed cowling version. Also here we have this special spar for the landing gear bay, and also we have the instrument panel, the propeller hubs in three versions. So quite a package, I would say, and all of this you get as a standard thing. You don't have to spend extra money, but that's not all. It wouldn't be an IBG kit without any P parts, so here we get the P parts. And we also get a surprise in terms of decals, so just give me a second. I will cut it open and we will discuss it together. So what we have here is unpainted P fret. I will zoom in so that you can see what I'm talking about. So unpainted P fret comes with the parts for the cockpit and also for external features. It looks quite nice, but in some, I would say, moments you have to use tweezers because, as you can see, some of the parts are really tiny. But that's not all. I was saying that there is a surprise. So first of all, we have this decals sheet which is printed in tech mode. Here we have decals for the cockpit, which is quite a useful thing for modelers who don't want to deal with aftermarket P. So you just apply those decals, and in my opinion, this is more than enough in this scale. even if you plan to open the cockpit. But the nice surprise comes in the decals which are printed in cartograph. So tech mod is quite nice, but we all know that the cartography is also good. So here you get all of the necessary symbols for the 3 marking options, and maybe some professionals might try to replicate this Balkenkreuz with the masks, but it's already your decision because it will require some precision as well as the masking tools for such finish, for such idea. So what I'm doing now is closing the lenses, and we will check the assembly manual, which is printed as a large format color printed brochure. We have short history note here on the cover or on the first page. Next we continue with the parts map, and here we have the marking guide for the cockpit, for the engine, and also for the landing gear and some armaments, which is quite important. And what is even more funny is that we get some stencils for the engine. Again, not all 148 scale kits get such stencils. So assembly begins with an engine, and here a lot of things are actually replicated out of the box. Maybe you can try to replicate the wiring, but I think it will be quite tricky thing to do. And next you continue with the cockpit, and as you remember we have the decals for the cockpit, but you replicate the rudder pedals with the PE parts, so it will be quite a work. And you can also replicate the seat belts with the PE parts. Next we continue with the spar for the wheel well. We install the engine, and then we start closing everything with the fuselage house, with the cooling panels and lower wing half. Then we install some PE parts for the wing armament, and here we install the tail wings. Then we install the frontal section of the cooling and propeller. Landing gear goes on the step 16, and here we continue with the antenna, tail landing gear. Here we have the canopy, also the bomb, or maybe there will be a fuel tank, but I can see that we can install the rockets, but it's only for the second marking option. Here we have also the marking guide for this rear armor wall. We assemble it together with the canopy, and there is a stencil included as a decal, which is quite cool. And then we can also open the canopy, as you remember, so it might be handy for some builders. Next, there is also a guide how to replicate the antenna, because if the canopy is open, antenna was sagging on this aircraft. This is quite important feature, and sometimes modelers just skip over it. Next, we have the 3D printed accessories from IBG. As you can see, there are some parts of the aircraft which can be completely replaced. Even the flaps are here. And then we continue with the stencils. So stencils are universal for all marking options. Here we have first 2 markings. I would say it's a typical German camouflage, so nothing surprising in a good sense, I would say. And here is the third marking option. This one is a bit more colorful, so maybe some modelers will try to replicate this one. As for the whole release, it should be already available, and you can get it on official IBG website. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.